Good evening, students, faculty, alumni, parents, professionals, and guests. On behalf of Marathwada Mitra Mandal's management, principal, and faculty, myself, Professor Aarti Patil, Alumni Cell Coordinator, MMCOA, welcome you all to this online international webinar by alumni of MMCOA. 5 days, 5 alumni, 5 international cities. Marathwada Mitra Mandal College of Architecture, an established institute whose mission is to sensitize young talent to address societal concerns by creating opportunities for learning and quest for excellence through research and academics. MMCO has come up with 5 days, 5 alumni, and 5 international cities webinar series to globally connect the students with alumni. A prospect for alumni to share occurrences of their journey of architectural practice, professional work, and experience. Today, as we begin, for the inauguration of this international webinar, we have with us Marathwada Mitra Mandal's Executive President, Honorable Principal Shri B.G. Zadav Sir, and Principal Dr. Ujwala Persule Ma'am. I request MMCOA Principal Dr. Ujwala Persule Ma'am to address the audience.
Good evening, everyone. Aarti ma'am, should I start?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Respected eminent alumni speakers, Marathwada Mitra Mandal's Executive President, Honorable Principal B.G. Zadav Sir, practicing architects, dear teachers and students. On behalf of Marathwada Mitra Mandal's College of Architecture, I welcome you all to our international webinar series, 5 days, 5 alumni, 5 international cities. In last 37 years since its establishment, MMCOA has widened its horizon multifold. The success of the institution goes beyond the years and we have many reasons to celebrate. We are extremely proud of our alumni who are known for their sincerity, caliber, and persistence across the globe. To establish a connect of our widespread alumni with our current students, we started the international webinar series by alumni last year, and I'm very delighted to share that it was a huge success. This year, we are conducting this international webinar series with our esteemed alumni, Architect Dheeraj Akolkar from UK, Architect Jyoti Ghugale from USA, Architect Sohan Saraf from Australia, Architect Nachiket Garge from Dubai, and Nilay Deshmukh from USA. I thank you all for accepting our invite to share your experiences with our students. And I'm sure that your insights will be very enlightening for all of us. On this note, I thank you all again for joining this session today and welcome you again for this special webinar series by our alumni. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I request Marathwada Mitra Mandal's Executive President, Honorable Principal Shri B.G. Zadav Sir, to address and inaugurate the series.
Good evening to all. MMCO has organized international webinar by alumni. We are happy that the participants from various countries, Architect Dheeraj from London, Architect Sohan Saraf from Australia, Architect Nachiket from Dubai, Nilay Deshmukh from USA, Coordinator, Architect Principal Persule, Aarti Patil, and dear students. I am very happy that MMCO situated in Pune, India, is talking to students from London, Australia, USA, and we are very proud that our students who are successful architects, who have got name and fame not only for MMCO but for India also. MMCO is doing extremely well We are also proud because of our alumni who are working at different countries. My dear students, past students, I can say, and now eminent architects, we expect from you that the students who are working in college, studying in college, they must be shared or they must have some gain through your experience. Since architecture in at abroad and architecture in India, what are the things to be done? What the colleges should take care that if you can share your experiences, that will be more better for our faculty and the students also. Because the college is known by the students, particularly by the past students. We always refer that our students are working at abroad and they are extremely doing well. But this should directly or indirectly, we should get benefit from now. It is not related to finance, but your experience, the areas of concern which you faced in your initial stage, it must be shared with our faculty and students. Though it might be through library enrichment or your past experience, sharing your experiences. So we should always feel, we should always, there always should be a bridge, a connect between you and the college, and there must be a sharing of knowledge. We expect this much only at this particular time. I do not expect to be in between you and the students because the participants, they are very eager to hear you. Once again, I welcome you to college, and whenever you will be in Pune, physically, please try to visit our college and see what how was your college at your time and how is the college this time, and you can share your experience in physics when you will be in Pune. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak for a few minutes.
Thank you, sir. The true measure of an institution's value is in the achievements of its alumni body. The distinguished lineup of successful, sensitive, and dynamic designers that we have as a part of this webinar series is indeed a matter of great pride for us at MMCA. In spite of busy schedules, varying time zones, and other logistical challenges, our eminent speakers graciously accepted our invitation to become a part of this international webinar series. In academics, we often question ourselves, what does teaching architecture come down to? Well, in the Zaha Hadid's words, I don't think you can teach architecture. You can only inspire people. So here we have some of the best of our alumni to speak to you, to ignite a passion, and most certainly give you an impetus to striving to achieve your own person best. For all our participants who are professionals, I can only say one thing. Learning never ends. And so this series will definitely be engaging and stimulating for each one of you as well. Today we have with us alumna architect Jyoti Ghugale of 2004 batch as our first speaker of this webinar series. Welcome, Jyoti. Jyoti's professional journey has been anything but conventional. After completing her bachelor's degree in architecture from MMCA in 2004, she worked with Vascon engineers in Pune. She then went on to pursue her master's in construction management at Texas A&M University. While in the US, she worked with construction companies Kiewit and Jacobs before moving to San Luis Potosi, Mexico. Over the next decade, she moved with Honeywell from Mexico to England to Indianapolis and eventually Minneapolis, where she was appointed the global PMO leader of corporate finance for Resident. Design remained a passion, and Jyoti was always working on projects for family and friends. In 2019, she finally quit corporate America and founded Homes and Such, so she could do what she loved full time. In such over 2 years, Homes and Such has grown and evolved. With several award-winning projects under her belt and write-ups in industry publications, She works across geographies on projects that include both construction and design. She holds degree in architecture, construction and business and brings a global mindset to her work and process. Given her non-linear journey to entrepreneurship, I'm not the least surprised that the topic Jyoti has chosen for today's talk is the road less traveled. Let's welcome Jyoti to share her story. Yes, Jyoti, over to you. Thank you.
All right, I could unmute myself. Can you hear me, Aarti ma'am?
Yes, Jyoti, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the warm and kind introduction. Thank you for thinking of me. And to tell you the truth, as I spoke to you earlier in Pulsule ma'am as well, it brought back so many memories. It was this rush of nostalgia that I felt when you reached out to me. You know, the learnings, of course, at MMCA, but the fun, the friendships, the tours, the last minute submission rush, the national competitions, some really big wins and some really tough losses. Lots of fun, but some tears as well. But through it all, what I felt most when you reached out was that strong sense of belonging to my batchmates, belonging to the class of 2004, belonging to my school, College of Architecture, and in a strong way, belonging to my country and my roots, India. It happens to be the week we're celebrating 75 years of independence, so it feels very special to be here. And surprisingly, that sense of belonging felt so fresh in my mind, as if it was just yesterday that we would walk down the aisles of MMCA, the hallways of MMCA every day. Anyway, so first off, to get started, please know that I'm in Minneapolis. It's 5:30 a.m. here. I do have a big cup of chaha right here, but if I do go off track, you know that it's the reason. I run, as Aarti ma'am, as the kind introduction she gave, I run a home design and construction company based in Minneapolis, but with projects and teams that are spread across the globe. We specialize in function first, globally inspired homes that are thoughtfully crafted to the client's lifestyles. HNS, in a way, has marked my return to design and construction full time after over a decade in corporate finance. And I'll talk more about homes and such, and in what we do further ahead when I get into the topics. But let me give you an idea of what I'm going to be talking about for the next hour. So when I was preparing for this talk, I reached out to some of my friends, my advisory board, if you will. But ultimately, I thought about what the 20-year-old Jyoti and her friends would have wanted to hear had this conversation happened then. And then going back to everyone who spoke here, Zadav sir, Pulsari ma'am, and Aarti ma'am, this is just such a great initiative to connect the alumni with the students, because this is exactly what we would have wanted to know, if we were at your stage, dear students. So that's kind of what I've based this conversation on. I've broken my talk down into 5 different categories, 5 different topics. They're essentially learnings from my journey. And a lot of what you will hear today is our life experiences, not specifically a discussion on architecture itself. And the reason for that is that there is a lot that can be said and that is said and that you're learning in the sphere of architecture. But the life experiences the obstacles, the issues that might come up as you venture out into chasing your own dreams. What I'd like to address is how I navigated through those, and if that is of any use to you, I think that would be mission accomplished for me. So yes, it's a talk. I'm not going to be showing a lot of my work. Although in between my topics, I'll share some videos that, of our work that might be interesting to you. But a lot of our work, what we do at Homes and Such, my design thoughts, the befores and afters, they're all captured on our website, homesandsuch.com. On the journal page and the projects page. And you can also follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook to know more about the day-to-day world at HNS. But here today, what I would like to talk to you about is the behind the scenes, right? The discomfort, the fears, being vulnerable, both in the professional and the personal world as we face them. Just a day in the life of an entrepreneur, and for all the gals out there, in the life of a woman entrepreneur. So with that said, let's jump into our first topic. The first topic that I've chosen is, and this is very close to my heart, growth begins at the end of your comfort zone. A lot of you may have heard this saying, and in my experience, it could not be truer. While I share my journey, you will see every single time I was pushed in a zone of discomfort, either by choice or due to external circumstances, magic happened. I surprised myself and those around me at what I could achieve when the order around me was challenged. When I think back to the time before Homes and Such was even an idea, the catalyst for its creation was a choice I made to get uncomfortable. I had climbed the corporate ladder at Honeywell and a decade had passed. I was comfortable. I had lived in Mexico, England, Indianapolis, and finally settled in Minneapolis with 2 adorable girls and an awesome husband. I worked with teams across the world and I traveled extensively to see them. I made a good living. But deep down, I knew it wasn't what I wanted long term. I knew that passion for creativity, for design was lacking. And it wasn't something that I would ever get in the corporate finance world. I needed to do something more creative. So after years of deliberation, I gave notice. I turned in my papers at Honeywell, and that was the 3rd time I did that. The first 2 times I was talked into staying back, and frankly, I didn't have the guts to give up what I already had, which was pretty good, for something that I did not know what the outcome is going to be, just because I had been away from the field for a really long time. Anyway, but I knew this 3rd time, I knew it was it. I knew it was time to take the leap, now or never. Later that afternoon, after I submitted my resignation, our finance vice president pinged me. He was based in the same office in Minneapolis as I was. He asked me to come and see him. I felt nervous, but I went anyway. After talking about weather and pleasantries, he asked me pointedly, "So, Jyoti, what's next?" I didn't have an answer. He then asked me, "Why are you quitting then?" I didn't have an answer. I felt foolish. Like I should have had a plan before giving up what I had, but I did not have a plan. In hindsight, and the reason I'm saying this is because looking back now, I don't know how I did it, but in hindsight, it was the best decision I ever made. HNS would not have happened had I not taken that leap of faith and jumped into the unknown. Going back to that afternoon, something extraordinary happened. He said while I was leaving, while I was feeling extremely foolish and scared, he said, I would like to see where you end up. Let's keep in touch and meet in a couple of years. That was motivation enough for me to figure it all out. And on a side note, I actually met him 2 weeks ago. And it felt good to hear that he was proud of what we're doing, of the work we're doing, and the visibility that we are getting, not just locally in Minneapolis, but across the states as well. As I look back, this is not the first example of discomfort in my life, nor will it be the last. And in some form or fashion, each one of you have, I'm sure, experienced a situation where you think you cannot come out of it. You feel you're out of place. You feel this is, I need to go back to what is familiar. But growth happens only when you get yourself outside of your comfort zone, when you feel that discomfort, when you feel that you have to try harder. My first true memory, incidentally, of being pushed out of my comfort zone was in the third year in College of Architecture in the school. Other priorities in my personal life had got in the way. Instead of focusing on studies, I was focused on everything else. He is my mentor now, but at the time he was the professor of structural engineering in the school, Professor Satish Marathe. He put me on a blacklist. I was marked as someone who wasn't performing to their full potential and needed help. I took it personally. This was a turning point for me. I got serious. I studied hard, and I finished that year at the top across the state. So that discomfort I felt in being called out for my performance was a motivator. It reminded me that I could do better, and so I did. So as we talk today, you will see that this theme of discomfort doesn't go away. It is present in every opportunity, every decision, every experience that has led me to where I am. I truly believe discomfort is essential to growth. And when you are in that situation, you may not see it, but good things come when you step outside of comfort. And those lessons may not reveal themselves until the experience is behind you, which is kind of what I felt when I left Honeywell, although it was a choice I made to get there. So it feels extra hard, but trust the process and know that better things are coming. So that with that, we'll move on to the second topic I've chosen for today, and that's what I learned while climbing the corporate ladder, being a part of corporate America, being a part of Honeywell for over a decade. But before moving on to that, I'm going to share, so in between my topics, I'm going to do a quick break where I share some videos of our work that we're presently doing at homes and such, either work in progress or finished photos, videos, just for you to get a flavor of the work. So let me go ahead and share my screen here, and we'll start with the first video.
Hold on to me as we go, as we roll down this unfamiliar road. And although this wave is stringing us along, just know you're not alone, 'cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
All right. So yeah, let's move on to the next topic, what I learned while climbing the corporate ladder. So after I graduated from College of Architecture, I worked with Vascon for a couple of years and then came to the US to do my master's in construction management. I took up a job with Jacobs Engineering in Houston after my master's. And started my career in construction project management. So estimation, project controls, scheduling, and cost tracking. In the midst of this, I got married. My husband, who was in Nashville, had moved to Mexico. We had a long distance marriage for a year, and eventually I quit my job in Houston and moved to Mexico to be with him. And right here is when I took up my job with Honeywell, entering the world of corporate finance, all new to me. I had no clue about anything in finance, but I was in a new country where Spanish was the language used by the construction crew and pretty much in the design world. So that was not something that was available for me right away. But I jumped at the opportunity of working for a corporate company where I could work across. My teams were still in the States. And I could work, and my stakeholders were still in the States, and I could work. I started my new role in corporate finance. I learned and grew quickly managing teams across the world. And over the next decade, I would also have the opportunity to move out of Mexico, to move to England, to live in England for a few years, where my first daughter was born. Then we moved back to Indianapolis in the US, and then where my second daughter was born, and then eventually to Minneapolis. Those early roles in construction and project management allowed me to experience the parts of corporate America that make large companies so unique in a way, where they have established systems, tools to streamline processes, and a strong culture that draws people in. These are key elements I now seek to intentionally curate for Homes and Such. At Honeywell, a global company, I was exposed to a way of working which I try to employ now in my own business. I learned that people can and do work across time zones, continents, and teams fairly effectively, which, of course, now looking back, COVID has kind of got that to the forefront, because this was slightly before COVID. But I was able to manage teams remotely with an emphasis on communication and touch points where they mattered most. So we gathered as a team when a specific need arose. Not only did we value this time, but it also invigorated us around the work. So for me, remote working was a way of working, was a natural way of working, and it provided flexibility, which is something I know I hire. For those that I hire, I value that. It also makes it possible to hire the best people for the job, no matter where they are. So currently we have 2 team members in California who manage the day-to-day operations there, and I travel as needed to ensure those necessary touch points with the clients. I also have team members in India and Minnesota. This means someone is thinking about our clients and our projects around the clock, and that feels really good. As a parent, I know the importance of flexibility. I prioritize hiring those who also need and value that flexibility. So women who want to get back in the workforce but are not able to follow a traditional 9-to-5 working model, we look to hire them to allow them to get back into the workforce at their own pace without feeling rushed. So the reason for sharing this is every experience, every role that you go through after college, you will offer you lessons, right? Sometimes we gloss over those lessons because of a bad experience, or we simply want to forget. But there is always something to be gained, even if it's a single takeaway that gives meaning and value to that experience. A willingness to find that good means every experience is worthwhile, even if it feels hard. So yeah, with that, let's move on to the next topic, which is kind of, an extension of my time at Honeywell. The topic is global does not mean big. It's a mindset. Diversity is a superpower. When I was in college, I did not realize the importance of diversity, of what it really means. To me, diversity was to the extent of some of my friends and my classmates who had moved from Delhi to Pune to study, or from Kashmir to Pune to study. So that was diversity, which in India we experience diversity at every stage. But then when you get in the workforce, in the corporate workforce, in the United States, in England, across the world, right? That's a different level of diversity, a different ballgame. And I choose to use it as a superpower, but it can be easily considered a downside. So that's the reason I want to talk about it. Because when you go out there, feel proud about where you come from and what you stand for and your roots, because your thought process will definitely add value to others who have a different cultural background and may not have the same ideas, thought process, beliefs. As much as we acknowledge the similarities, we want to value the differences as well. So that was the biggest takeaway for me from my time at Honeywell, is how, what I would view as global. For me, global is much more than the scale of things. When I tell folks that Homes and Such is a global company, the interpretation is it's a big company. No, we're a small boutique, small business, but global is our mindset. That's how we work, and that's what I have, from my experience at Honeywell, I've applied in Homes and Such. So global speaks to our aesthetic, where we find inspiration. We believe no single style captures the client's aesthetic, but instead it's mixing and matching styles to create your home. Because if you think about it, would any of you say that you liked only one cuisine over 20 years or over the past 10 years even? Possibly not, right? You would like different things at different stages. We talk to our clients the same about their homes. We want their homes, we want to design their homes in a way that it can evolve over time as their taste and their liking changes or evolves over time. It's about the nature of our team and how we work together, supporting one another from near and far to provide the best possible experience to our clients. We provide hey, good morning. I want to call. Can I get back to you right after the call? Okay. Sorry about that. It's wake up time here. It's about I was talking about how we work together. So we have a diverse team. We have folks in India, we have folks in California, here in Minnesota, supporting one another from near and far to provide that best possible experience for the clients, providing a flexible work environment and bringing together diverse perspectives. Out of the box ideas come up when there is that cross-pollination of cultural beliefs, way of life. It's also about the opportunity to learn and grow, a desire to connect with others, to work with clients wherever they are, because you have a model that supports that, provides the opportunity to push ourselves out of the comfort zone, if you will. A global mindset pushes you to think differently. You don't have to do the things the way they've always been done. Instead, you can you can look at it from a different perspective, from a perspective that is more inclusive to different beliefs. As a woman of color working in a male-dominated field, a global mindset also helps me when the day-to-day feels hard. And it does sometimes. Well, it does quite a lot. I have moments where I feel I don't belong, and I'm often uncomfortable. For some, my accent can be hard to understand, or they don't want to take direction from a woman. It's not always easy to get clients or find contractors to work with. Instead, I choose to amplify who and what I am because I bring a new and interesting perspective. It's ultimately about our willingness to figure things out. As an entrepreneur, my husband is a strong supporter of my vision. He taught me, I think it's him, I'm pretty sure it's him who taught me to dream, and gave me the confidence to quit what I was not happy with and come back to design and architecture. Coupled with a global mindset, I think anything is possible. That support is essential to the process, the willingness to stay uncomfortable, and the opportunity to build something great. So on this note, I'll share a couple videos, I believe. One is at the start of construction at one of our homes here in Minneapolis, which is almost a 100-year-old home. So when you're remodeling a 100-year-old home, it's a completely different ball game because you're playing with a structure that has been built a very long time ago with completely different techniques. And you kind of want to respect that from a structural perspective, but also from a architectural perspective to kind of keep the integrity of the space constant. I believe you saw some of the after pictures in that first presentation, but this just shows how we kick off a project. And one of the things that is still close to my heart is we always kick off the projects with a small puja. And my team of carpenters and drywall and my entire crew here has come to kind of get to know that tradition a little bit. And then after that, I'll share another video, which is an opportunity where I got to work with an architect and an artist in Pune, architect Sanjeev Joshi, for one of my projects in California, where he created some beautiful art for us that was, in line with the client's roots in Pune and her aesthetic, her modern aesthetic. All right, so let me go ahead and share those.
Lately, I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. But baby, I've been praying hard. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Yeah, we'll be counting stars. Like a swinging vine, swing my heart across the line. In my face is flashing signs. Seek it out and ye shall find. Old, but I'm not that old. Young, but I'm not that bold. And I don't think the world is sold. I'm just doing what we're told.
All right, I looked at the time, I realized we have only 15 minutes left. So I'm going to quickly jump to our last topic, which I think is really important for the students here who are listening in. And it says it's okay to not have a scripted plan, but this is the topic where I cover what are the opportunities out there for you as you get onto the professional world. And, of course, these are not all inclusive. There are a lot more out there, but just some idea of what's out there, specifically in the US, but across the world as well. and what you could take up. Of course, if we do not have the time today, feel free to reach out to me even after this session to ask any questions you may have specifically about universities, colleges in the US. But right now, let me talk about the professional avenues, right? So as you think about your education and what comes next, there are various opportunities. You can focus on design, both architecture and interiors, which in the US for architectural design, you need to go through a licensure process and it's by state. So for every state, you need a license. But working up towards it, once you get your master's, you can work for a big national practice or a small business and work yourself through the licensure. If you want to get into interior design, that's a national certification, and that's a lot faster of a turnaround. Of course, in both of these, you can choose to work for a big practice, or if you are from a visa formalities and from all of that, from that perspective, if you're eligible to start your own business, that's always again an option. That's architectural design, interior design. Construction is a big portion, again, a big avenue that you could take up, and then kind of what we are doing at Homes and Such is design and build. So we design, and we are general contractors as well at our site. So it's a design build setup, which is very beneficial for the single homeowners, right? So if you're into home remodeling, that's a great benefit for the clients because it's a one-stop shop, and that's a great way of working. So we did design, we did construction, we did design build. Project management consultancy is a big avenue. If you come here and do your master's in either construction management or even for that matter, architecture or landscape design, urban planning, you could get into project management consultancy. Urban and city planning, working with the cities, that's an avenue. We do know one of our juniors who is based in the US in that field. Landscape design, again, is an important avenue. Overall in the US, landscape design, residential, commercial, it's an important field, an important market. So if that's what you're interested in, getting your master's in landscape design is a great opportunity. So this did not exist as much when we were getting started, but the whole concept of storytelling about your architectural work, both in written and visual form. So architectural journalism, photography, videography, and also the content itself, right? We all see a lot of that on social media now, but that's a big avenue if that's what you're interested in, right? Influencer marketing and sales, styling and staging is an area that if you are really interested in the details of printing things up, that's an avenue. Real estate is a big avenue. Product design, manufacturing, retail. So that's one of the things that is close to my heart. One of my long-term goals for Homes and Such is to have a product line which has globally inspired designs in fabrics and textiles and materials and so on and so forth. Film set design and staging, and then again, getting an architecture degree does not mean you cannot go into business, finance, technology, entrepreneurship, right? We've seen that all through my experience, through a lot of others, who've been through the exact same situation and are doing extremely well in the technology world, in the finance world as well. So those are, again, avenues, even within architecture, that you could pursue. Finance systems within architectural practices, running a business, technology part of architecture, where we're talking about softwares and all of that. so anyway, so again, I think one of the things that I would like you to leave you with is it's okay to not have a scripted plan. It's okay if you do not know today exactly what you want to do, because it's a learning process. I think Arti ma'am mentioned that in her introduction, that it's a process. You would be learning and growing and evolving, not just because of your beliefs, because of what you want to do, but also because of the surroundings. I mean, we're living in a very fast changing environment, and we kind of want to seize every opportunity there is. So while you do make plans, please be flexible that they may not work out, or they may work out marvelously, but be open to them, be flexible to adapt. And yeah, that's what I would like to leave you with, because I know we are short on time and I do want to give some time for questions. So yeah, thank you everyone again. Thank you, Arti ma'am. Thank you, Palsule ma'am. Thank you, Zadav sir, for this opportunity. And I'll open up for questions.
Yeah, thank you, Jyoti. We have asked the audience to put up the questions in the chat box. I'll hand over to architect Sachin Mohammed, who is also an alumni of this college, 2001 pass out. He would take up the question answer session.
Hello, Jyoti ma'am.
Hi, Sachin.
Such a wonderful journey that we actually experienced.
Thank you.
As Aarti ma'am just said, I myself, being an alumni of MUCOA, it's really an honor and pleasure to listen to our own proud alumni and colleague. I don't know whether you remember me or not, but I think we were overlapping with each other for a year or so.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Audience just requested to put up questions in the chat box. We have one question from Ayush Hazare. He's a student. Ma'am, being an Indian, we carry our culture in whatever we do and whatever we go, like Kamala Harris, making her South Indian dosa famous around the world. Do you incorporate any Indian style in your work? If yes, then in which way, like electric design details, eclectic design details?
Yeah, eclectic design details. Yes. So that's a great question. And, if I had more time, I would have loved to talk about how, we do a lot of, incorporation, even literally and figuratively, of, where we come from, be it in the design and decor, like a mandir that we created, or be it with working with designers in India, in Pune, like I spoke about, architect Sanjeev Joshi, and then also in my personal life as well, right? We carry those traditions, the values in my family. When you asked that question, the first thing that popped up in my mind was, the stotra that we say when we begin a meal, right? Vadanika Valageta. We, no matter where you live, everyone does that in their own way. So our friends here have, a similar thing going, and then we've kept ours going. And it's, we're similar in so many ways, but are still different. So it's great to carry on traditions.
We have another question from architect Tanay. It says, how do you coordinate the international projects since your office is based in US? Do you have a setup or you collaborate?
Yes, so we do have a partnership at everywhere that we have a project, and I myself travel, make it a point to travel when we're in the execution phase. When we're in construction, I travel there more often, versus when we're in the earlier design phase, it's essentially to meet the clients for the planning process. So yes, we have local touch points, and I myself travel to every location.
Thank you. We have one more question from architect Shaheen. I think she happens to be your senior by a couple of years.
Yes, 1 year. Yeah.
Congratulations,
Hi, Shaheen.
congratulations, Jyoti. Wonderful to hear your journey so far. Decisions you have made have been practical and relatable. Best wishes.
Oh, thank you, Shaheen. I listened through yours as well, Shaheen, and yes, absolutely. It was relatable to me as well, and I hope to connect with you soon.
Actually, I have one question from my end.
Sure.
I've worked with Honeywell for more than a decade, as you said,
Mhm.
and climbing up the corporate ladder, even after being an architect, you took that step of moving away from the corporate world and actually doing something at your own. So I would like to ask you the difference between working as a part of big corporate and working with passion at your own. You find the difference, and is it really challenging? In what ways?
Both have their challenges, and both have their luxury, so to speak, right? One of the struggles that I faced when I was working in the corporate world, I had teams that were spread across the world. I had a team in Mexico, in US, I had a team in Europe, and I had a team in India and China. So although it was supposed to be a 9 to 5 job, I would be waking up in the morning for my China calls or night for the China calls, and working through the morning through the rest of the time zones. So it felt like there was no start or end. I was working around the clock, and that was one of the things that, as I started my family and my kids were young, I wanted to move away from that stress and be able to have the flexibility of working for myself, so I could create my own schedule. And I say that, and everyone who's been an entrepreneur here would be thinking, yes, that flexibility is there, but when you're running your own company, you're thinking about it round the clock, day and night. So, there you go.
Very well said. We have one more question from Prithvi, who is our fifth year student. He says, how much does the location of where you live or work affect what kind of work you do?
Say that question again, Sachin.
How much does the location of where you live or work affect what kind of work you do?
Oh,
He wants
yes.
to relate with the location where you stay and like what kind of projects that you actually get to work on.
Absolutely. So yeah, where I live is a great example. Climate, the weather, the seasons dictate what we can and cannot do and when we can do it. We're in winter almost 6 months. We're covered in snow for 3 to 4 months. So that really dictates the construction style, the technology, the aesthetic, and the parameters that you consider when you're designing something. Like when you're designing, we're just doing an outdoor landscaping project for one of the clients. I had those videos, but we're short of time right now. But when we're designing those, we're thinking about 6 months of this patio being covered in snow. So the parameters completely change based on where you're designing it for. We're doing a project in California, and there we're thinking about, for the outdoor project, we're thinking about fires and wind. So I think climate plays a huge role in what we design and how we construct it.
Yeah, we have a couple of comments. First one from Aparna Dixit Madam, Dr. Aparna Dixit Madam. She said, congratulations, artist, congratulations. So good to see you grow up to be such a well-groomed architect with your feet so rooted on the ground. Proud of you, dear.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Aparna
one
ma'am.
more compliment from Dr. Shubhangi ma'am.
Mhm.
She says
Oh,
amazing work. Very proud of you, Jyoti, and wishing you all the very best.
thank you so much, Shubhangi ma'am. It means a lot. You know, having all of you there, we were, because of it, we had that environment of camaraderie with the teachers, which I feel even today. So thank you so much. It means a lot to have you all rooting for me and for us, all of us. Thank you.
We have another question from Ghare. Sir. Wonderful to hear about your journey. Having seen both the education systems specifically related to architecture, how can we in India do things differently to be able to compete globally?
I think we're doing great to compete globally even today.
Okay. Yes, we have a few more comments from Vidanidhi Sane ma'am. Uh, you are an inspiration indeed, architect, entrepreneur, and construction.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Uh, Kirti Buzare would like to ask. I'm also one of the alumni of MMCA 2002 batch. Very inspiring talk and nice work, Jyoti. Very well balanced in work and family, it seems. Best wishes and more success for future journey. How to connect you in future? She would like to know how to connect with you in future.
Sure. Why don't I share all the details with Aarti ma'am, with my contact details, and anyone who would like to reach out? I'll be happy to walk you through anything that you would need.
Yes, and we have one more congratulation message from our own alumni, Nachiket Gargi sir. He says, congratulations, Jyoti. Very good work and keep it going.
Thank you, Nachiket. I'm
Once,
looking forward to you.
yeah, one question. Many times we say that whatever we learn in first year, we don't really get to practice. I don't know, especially in India. So all the timber details and all the timber joineries, everything that you actually worked on and you studied, was it really helpful to you in working in US?
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you brought up that point. I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, absolutely. Being here, timber is, that's integral part of every construction project. And yes, very much. I'm enjoying it.
Just one statement, a very important statement that you made in between that, being an architect, we should be really flexible to it, to adopt new things. And that's what can be evidently seen from your journey. Would you like to elaborate a little more on that, especially in the context of students who are actually, having number of avenues after architecture in today's context?
Um, Say that again, Sachin, please.
In between you said that being an architect we should be highly flexible to adopt new things.
Right, right.
Just to elaborate a little more on this front, especially for students of architecture in today's time.
Right, right, absolutely. So, one of the things that I've said in there as well, yes, there are these avenues today, but 10 years from now, when you'd be at your peak, there would be a lot more that you can't see today. So don't stifle your imagination, don't stifle your ideas. If you think that what is out there is not for you, think outside the box, because you never know, your next idea would be the trend 10 years from now. I think that is really important. It's a fast changing environment, and it's an environment where you can create your own path, which is, don't underestimate the power of that. Look at the different options available, test them out. It does not mean that your first job has to be your last one. Try things out. If they work, great. If they don't work, figure out what is it that is missing. And again, don't fear away, don't shy away from creating your own path and your own avenues.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I think you have probably the best compliment from Mr. Sudhanshu. Jyoti has designed our home
Oh,
and it is awesome. Thank you, Jyoti.
thank you, Sudhanshu. It was a pleasure. It was one of the reasons I decided to come back to architecture was after designing their home. I realized that this is what I got to do. I mean, yes, the money is there, the stability is there in the corporate world, but that's not giving me the level of satisfaction that I get from designing a house. And that was one of the reasons and one of the turning points why I started Homes and Such. So thank you, Sudhanshu and Swati, for the opportunity.
Yeah, we have one more question. I'm not able to look at the name. Very inspired by your process and like the sentence you told about discomfort and success. And one question, how to know your perfect place for work?
How to know your
Yeah, I mean, how do you, when do you know when this is the perfect place for me to work actually?
It's funny, but the way I think about it is the moment you get comfortable in where you are, that's the time to move on. There's not going to be one place that is something that, we're living in a very fast changing environment. It's not like maybe our parents or probably our grandparents who had one sort of a career path through their entire career, right? So we're in an environment where we're doing something today, and 10 years from now we would be doing something completely different. So keeping up with the changes around you, with the technology around you, is very, very important. So I don't think that you would ever know that this is exactly where you want to be, but the moment you start feeling comfortable where you are, start looking for things that'll challenge you. Because if you don't challenge yourself, that change is going to come to you. It's going to be forced on you. So be the change.
Yes, absolutely well said. Really, I think we have few comments as you know, everyone is really feeling proud of your feats and achievements.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think any more questions from audience? I think yeah, now I would like to request Aarti Patil ma'am to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, everyone.
Well, Jyoti, it was fantastic. I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks to Jyoti for delivering us such a remarkably outstanding work, talk, and presentation. It was beyond excellence. I'm sure our students and all attending the guests, professionals, alumni, the webinar is gained knowledge and has benefited them immensely. On behalf of alumni and faculty, we feel proud of you. Keep going and shine on. Best wishes and good luck to you from all of us here present here. Thank you one and thank you all. I also take this opportunity to give Jyoti a standing invitation to visit our college whenever she visits Pune. We would like to meet you and let's have a good interaction with our students physically when you are here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love that.
And all alumni are, you can connect with Jyoti through Alma Shine. So please register yourself to Alma Shine's web portal. She is part of the this webinar, the alumni web portal. You can easily get connected to her. So that's how we also got connected to her when she was registered. That's how I got her number and her email address, and we could easily connect with her. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes.
I'm humbled.
Yes. Thank you.